Starting us off at number 10, we have the real-life human tree man. This right here is Abul Bajender. He suffers from epidermal dysplasia verruciformis, which is an extremely rare recessive hereditary skin disorder associated with the high risk of skin cancer. It is very commonly known as tree man syndrome. When Abul was just 15 or 16 years old, he noticed some small warts on his knees. He tried some traditional medicine from different areas of Bangladesh, but it kept coming back and it would spread to his hands and feet. Abul was admitted to a medical hospital, and during the year of 2016, he underwent 25 surgeries for the removal of the warts. Doctors were able to remove most of the warts, but just a few years later, it returned and the condition came with a vengeance. The condition had significantly worsened and spread even more. He needed another 5 or 6 operations to get the condition back under control. It's really sad what he went through, and just this past June of this year, he requested that his arms be amputated because the pain was just unbearable. And at number 9, we have an extraordinary man who was able to run 50 triathlons in 50 days in 50 states. That man is James Lawrence from Calgary, Canada. James Lawrence was able to have his own Netflix documentary. It's called Iron Cowboy, and yes, I have watched it. It's really good. It's really inspiring. A triathlon comprises of 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike ride, and a 26.2 mile run, which took him on average 14.5 hours to complete. Most people are tired after an 8-hour work shift, never mind moving all the time for 14.5 hours. Most people can't even do a triathlon in their lifetime, but this guy was somehow able to perform 50 of them in 50 days, while only sleeping 4 hours on average. It's incredible what the human body is capable of doing. I run for 20 minutes and I'm in so much pain. Or me just standing here filming this video, it hurts.
This is what we as human beings can actually do.
Whatever trial you're having, it's hard.
There's a finish line to all of this. You've just got to get through today.
It's awesome. Fight.
I highly recommend watching it on Netflix. Again, it's called Iron Cowboy. Very inspiring, and I recommend it. Moving on to a man who injected synthol into his arms. Well, he went on to have the Guinness World Record for the largest upper arms in the world. So it's not even the biggest arms, it's just the upper portion of it. Well, this man is Mustafa Ismail, and he comes in at number 8. He has been injecting oil in his arms for attention. He wanted to have the biggest arms in the world, and you know what? He's getting all the attention that he's ever wanted.
Fast becoming referred to as the human Popeye, Mustafa Ismail from Egypt has just been awarded the Guinness World Record for the largest biceps, measuring in with a circumference of 25.5 inches.
Is this real life right now? Pretty sure his biceps is bigger than my waist. I'm not sure why you would want 31-inch biceps in the first place. On top of injecting himself with oils, he trains his arms for 6 days a week and he eats 6 meals a day. For sure, every day is arm day for him, at least the upper portion of his arm. He advertises that he's been working out since the age of 11 years old, and I don't know if this guy realizes how disproportionate he is and how ridiculous he actually looks.
Weightlifting, the gym, workouts is the only thing that I succeed in, as sports-wise. Yeah, workout. Being in the gym here, it's like the best feeling.
A man who naturally has big arms, and he doesn't inject himself, and his hands are big as well, well, he comes in at number 7. So this right here is the real-life Popeye, Jeff Dabe.
I'm Jeff Dabe, also known as the real-life Popeye. I was born with the bigger hands, 4 arms, 1 leg, and foot. I've been through multiple tests. They can never give me a direct answer what caused it or why.
Well, he's been trying to figure out why his arms and hands are abnormally large, but it seems like no medical doctor can figure it out, and there doesn't seem to be any slowing down in the growth of his arms. Jeff Dabe actually embraced it. He got himself into arm wrestling, and I know it might be weird to admit, but I actually enjoy watching a lot of arm wrestling. My favorite person is Devin Larratt, who's a Canadian legend in the arm wrestling world. I don't think he's the current champ now. He got dethroned. That was a really hard one to watch, but I do get to see Jeff Dabe in a lot of these arm wrestling tournaments that I watch. He's not the strongest person out there, but he's probably one of the most intimidating person out there. All right, let's move on to number 6. We have a 23-year-old that I've actually admired over the years, and he just sadly went undrafted in the NBA. But you know what? He just got signed with the Boston Celtics. We're talking about Tacko Falls, and I followed his high school career as well. Most people are finding out about him now, I know, because of the NCAA tournament, and now he's known as the tallest NBA player in history. Well, I'm pretty sure he has to play like a minute of the NBA to be officially known as the tallest NBA player. Well, let me put into perspective how tall this kid is. Boban. Well, Boban's the tallest player in the NBA right now. He's 7'3". Tacko Falls is 7'7". And yes, he is taller than Yao Ming. Tacko Falls' standing reach is 10'3". The NBA net is only 10 feet. So he can dunk a ball while standing up, but it doesn't even have to stand so straight. He can have like a little curvature and still reach it. And if he jumps too high, he's gonna be way too high above the net. He has to like throw the ball way down. Okay, let me put this into more perspective for you guys. The tallest living human right now is only 6 inches taller than Tacko Falls. The tallest person in America right now who I was able to find is only 1 inch taller than Tacko Falls, which is very extraordinary, and I just can't wait to see him play in the NBA. Also, I was able to meet Canada's tallest man. He was 7'7", so I kind of got a grasp on how tall Tacko Falls is. He came to the studio, we filmed some videos. He wasn't able to fit on set, but you know what? Let me give you guys a quick flashback of that. Okay, I think we gotta adjust our equipment right now. The camera, I don't think you're on it. Damn. Moving into number 5, we have the world's smallest living woman. This right here is 25-year-old Jyoti Amch, and she measures in at 2 feet 1 inches. Let's put this into perspective for you guys. When babies are born, they're about 18 to 22 inches. Well, Jyoti Amch, she's 2 to 3 inches taller than that. Well, this is because of a very rare condition. She has a genetic disorder called achondroplasia. Jyoti has been a part of many documentaries over her years. She was in Body Shock 2 Foot Tall Teen. She was also a guest participant on Big Boss 6, which is an Indian television show. Also, she was a part of the American Horror Story Freak Show. I think the craziest part about this whole thing is that she only weighs 11 pounds. I mean, how is that even possible?
Jyoti's rules: don't pick her up and treat her like a doll, and try to act normal around her. Born in India, she doesn't speak much English, but fortunately, Jyoti doesn't need to in American Horror Story Freak Show.
Next up, number 4, we have a man who has the worst memory. I thought I was on this list for this one, but it's not me.
No difference in dreams or anything like that, no senses at all. The brain has been totally inactive. No dreams and no thoughts of any kind whatever.
Well, that was Clive Waring, who is a British former musicologist, conductor, and a keyboardist. And he currently suffers from chronic amnesia. He lacks the ability to form new memories, and he only has a 7-second memory. It's really sad, but back in 1985, when Waring was 47 years old, he was struck by a virus that caused massive damage to his brain. Against all the odds, doctors managed to save his life, but he was left with a memory of a baby. But for some reason, his ability to remember how to play music was unaffected.
Clive Waring has one of the worst cases of amnesia in the world.
But when he played the music, he doesn't remember playing it.
Do you feel different when you play music?
I've never heard a note since I've been ill. I don't know what it's like to play music when you're unconscious.
You played us some music about 2 minutes ago.
Not known to me. Totally unknown. I've never heard a note yet.
He was saying he has never even heard of music being played since his accident. So he remembers that he had the accident, but he doesn't remember playing the piano 7 seconds ago. For someone with virtually no memory at all, to a 10-year-old kid that baffles scientists because of his super memory is up next at number 3.
What day of the week was Halloween 2011?
Monday. That one I didn't even have to think about.
New Year's Day 2010?
Friday.
Friday.
I remember that because I was up all night at the Blues game.
That's when Jake was 6. He lives in St. Louis, loves sports, and he is in most respects a typical 10-year-old.
That was Jake Hostler, who has a superior autobiographical memory. He's had this remarkable ability since the age of 8 years old, so all of a sudden it just It just happened. Researchers have been studying Jake Hustler to understand how he has this ability. It's said that only 6 people in the world has the ability of superior autobiographical memory, where you can remember everything on any given day. There's actually a famous actress who is one of these 6 people, well, including this kid Jake Hustler himself. Well, the actress is Mary Lou Henner. Well, the acting business is pretty good for her because she can memorize any line from just reading it once.
So how does it work? If I throw you a random date, say the 8th of September 1985.
Okay, so I know 8th of September 1985 was a Sunday. It's like 85 all of a sudden kind of lines itself up and it gets completely organized sort of in a timeline way, and I see the whole calendar sort of fall into place.
I think that's insane because I don't even know what day it is today. Number 2, we have Abigail and Brittany Hansel.
Abby and Brittany were born with just one body between them.
My name's Abigail Brad Hansel and Brittany Lee Hansel, and don't you dare say a thing about it.
The only known surviving dicephalous conjoined twins, they've spent their lives in a small, close-knit community.
Their story is unbelievable and very inspiring. They were born just 2 months after me, so they're 29 years old. Well, they are American conjoined twins. They are known as dicephalic conjoined twins, which means their heads are side by side and they share just one torso. Usually when this happens, only one twin can survive. The other twin would be like a stillborn, or they would pass away shortly after birth. But somehow the Hansel twins have been able to live with this condition for the past 29 years, and they have been thriving. They can drive, and they even became school teachers, in which hopefully both of them are being paid and they're not paying them as one person because they're 2 people.
What's it like having a student teacher? Or 2 student teachers?
It's like Abby was talking to one person and I have a question, I can just ask her.
Absolutely. You've done that.
And finally, number 1, we have the girl born with her heart on the outside of her chest. This little girl's name is Vanellope Hope Wilkins. I think that's a great name. She might be the only one in the world with such an extreme condition, so severe.
This is my heart. I'm the only one that has this.
Versavia was born with a condition called pentalogy of Cantrell.
Vanellope was born in Russia, and Russian doctors told her mom to prepare for the worst because, well, she was born with a very, very rare condition and she won't survive. Her heart was developed on the outside of her body.
When Versavia was born in Novorossiysk in Russia, doctors warned her mother Dari to prepare for the worst.
Doctors have tried to put her heart back into her body, but she wasn't strong enough and they were having problems with her blood pressure. Alright, let's get started. Let's start how we always do with number 10. Well, let's actually talk more about Cody Lee. He's 22 years old and he has optic nerve hypoplasia, which is a medical condition arising from the underdevelopment of the optic nerve. This means Cody Lee is legally blind. He does have light perception, so he knows when lights are on or off. Cody is one of 25 known people who has his extraordinary abilities that allows him to play music and sing. Alright, it was kind of hard to hear him because so many people were freaking out, and I would be doing the same thing because he's so good. His audition blew me away. Let's move on to number 9. I want to introduce to you guys to this little guy right here. This is Alex Canary, who is an extraordinary boy from Liverpool. He is known to be Britain's only primordial dwarf. Primordial dwarfism is a very rare, often dangerous group of genetic conditions, and they result in a small body size or other growth abnormalities. First signs of this comes in the fetal stage, and for Alex's mother Sue, she was rushed to the hospital for an emergency C-section because it was too dangerous to still keep him inside. Doctors at this time knew what they were dealing with, but somehow Alex was able to be born really early and he was able to survive even though all the odds were against him.
It was nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for seeing us.
Oh, you're welcome.
I honestly can't believe we've got here. We thought it'd take
Years.
Years and years and years, to be honest.
Alex never grew past 35 inches and is known to be the tiniest boy in the world. The extraordinary memory is up next at number 8. We're talking about Ben Pridemore, who is a memory champion from Derby in the UK. Pridemore has also earned the prestigious title of Master of Memory. Well, this award is given to you if you're able to memorize 1,000 random digits in an hour. You can memorize the order of 10 decks of cards in an hour, and you can also memorize the order of 1 deck of cards in under 2 minutes.
How fast can you memorize a deck of cards now?
I think the best time I've ever done in practice was about 20 seconds, 20.28.
We should be taking this guy to Vegas. Ben Pridemore only received this ability in his 20s.
The key to Ben's memory genius is that he uses a different part of his brain to store new information compared to the rest of us. To remember cards, most of us would use our working memory, but this can only store up to 7 new pieces of information, such as a phone number. This information is only held here for a few seconds before it's forgotten.
Is that why phone numbers are only 7 digits long? Because most of us won't be able to remember it if there was 1 extra digit, if there was 8 digits to it. I struggle with my own phone number. Next up, number 7, we have Cameron Mott, a little girl who lives with only half a brain. When she was just 3 years old, Cameron was having very severe seizures. It would happen more and more to the point it was happening 10 or more times a day. This left her family fearful for her life. It took a very long time to diagnose what was going on, and after many failed medications and failed diagnosis, doctors were finally able to determine the cause of the seizures. She was diagnosed with Rasmussen syndrome, which is a very rare autoimmune disorder that causes deterioration of half the brain. So she had to have surgery. The surgery she needed is called a hemispherectomy, which is a very risky, but this is where surgeons are forced to remove half of this little girl's brain. Immediately after her successful surgery, Cameron was left completely paralyzed on the left side of her body. This is every parent's nightmare. I couldn't imagine this, but remarkably enough, after weeks went by and with the help of physical therapy, she was able to walk on her own.
6-year-old Cameron is recovering from radical surgery and is making great strides.
It's amazing to me that only 9 or 10 days ago that she had half of her brain removed.
From one of the bravest girls to now one of the strongest kids in the world is next up at number 6. This right here is Juliano Schro, who was born in Romania, and he has broken many records. He was only 5 years old when he broke his first world record. He was only 5 years old when he broke his first world record. I'm almost 30 now, and I'm the least talented person. Maybe that can be a record. Is this real life right now? That kid is extremely ripped. He started training at a very young age by his father. Now at number 5, we have Sultan Kosin, who is known as the current tallest person in the world. He's 36 years old from Mardin, Turkey, and he stands at 8 feet 2.8 inches. His growth resulted from a condition known as acromegaly, which was caused by a tumor affecting his pituitary gland.
Tabii sonucu boyumun uzaması durdu yani bundan dolayı ben çok sevindim yani.
For some reason, he doesn't even look real because he's just so tall. We're not used to seeing that. But because of his height, he does have severe troubles walking. A lot of people who have this condition, acromegaly, they don't stop growing. They just keep going until ultimately it leads to death. For Sultan Kosin, back in 2010, he was able to get treatment for his pituitary tumor at the University of Virginia Medical School and was provided medication to control his excessive levels of growth hormones. It seemed to have stopped his rapid growth, but nothing can change the current height that he's at. Moving on to number 4, I actually just quickly wanted to talk about the famous Robert Wadlow, who is an American man who set the record for the tallest man in the world, and this record has stood for the past 80 years. I don't know if in modern times, if anyone is going to beat that record. Robert Wadlow was almost 9 feet tall and he was only 22 years old. His growth never stopped. Unlike Sultan Kosin, who we just talked about, he wasn't able to walk on his own, but somehow Robert Wadlow at 8 feet 11 inches was able to support his height and he was able to walk. That is absolutely insane. His father isn't even short. I mean, the guy's 6 feet tall, but obviously in comparison, he's tiny. His parents had to make a decision when they found out about his condition, you know, whether or not to do a risky surgery that it could kill him. It can also save him. If the surgery was successful, he might have lived a longer life, but it was a risk. There was a second choice where they just let nature have its course. And his parents come from a very religious background, so they just let nature do its thing. All right, number 3, we have Amy Ann Elliott and Kate Marie Elliott, who are known as the twins who were born the furthest time apart. Amy was born first on June 1st, 2012. She was 4 months premature, so when she was born, she was placed into intensive care, where she fought for her life. And her twin brother was born 87 days later, that's about 3 months. This is absolutely insane when you think about it. My best buddy is a twin, and he was born like an hour after his brother. That just sounds crazy to me. Like, what were you doing for the hour? Imagine being born 3 months after. You know what's crazy? When I was doing research for this, for the twins, I actually found a video of myself on my old main channel, Light in Production, talking about them. It was so long ago, but I guess I will show you guys. I'm super young, and I didn't have an awkward beard then. Yeah, I'm reading the comments, guys. I'm seeing what you guys were saying about this. I can't grow it properly. Hey, let me show you guys this picture. It's of these twin sisters, Katie and Amy. Well, they land themselves in the Guinness World Records book for having the longest intervals between the births of twins. Yeah, that's all you guys get. And how young do I look? Wow. Let's move on to number 2. We have William Zhang, a 6-year-old who is a piano prodigy. How does one's hand move so fast? He started at the age of 1 year old, despite everyone telling his parents that he'd be too young to start at that age. Usually you gotta wait till like 3 years old. Well, now he practices up to 3 hours a day.
There's something about William Zhang people notice.
Now, number 1, we have a child prodigy in chemistry, biology, mathematics, computer programming, and music. We're talking about Anand Kali. Kali gave his first public lecture at the age of 6 years old. I think I just got my first Pokemon then. At 7 years old, he passed the GCSE chemistry course, which is a high school course. At 9 years old, he was able to memorize and recite pi to 518 decimals. I can only do 2. I memorized it. 3.14, and I actually have it scripted up for me in front of me, so I didn't even. I'm pretty bad at memorizing stuff. Maybe that could be a world record. Maybe. That's pretty much the extent of my capabilities, and I don't even know why there are so many numbers after the 0.14. I mean, it's just not necessary.
3.145926535897932384626433832795028849716939.